This is Dr. Elliot Realsteen, and I have a PhD in chemistry, kinesiology, and most importantly, a PhD in street. A hot-button issue that has been around for a long time and continues to dominate headlines to this day is the subject of white supremacy. White supremacy is a seemingly straightforward ideology. It is the belief that white people are inherently and unequivocally superior to those belonging to other races. However, as seemingly simplistic as this ideology is this concept, and more importantly, the people who adhere to this concept, going to evolve in the future and take a skewed form that's distinctive from the type of white supremacy that's been witnessed for hundreds of years? Concepts, perspectives, and norms are always undergoing evolution with the passage of time. It is only a matter of by how much and how quickly is this change occurring. For instance, even the definition of quote-unquote white people has evolved drastically in recent years. There was a time in recent history when Irish, Italian, and Polish people were not considered to be white, and furthermore, anyone who was born a Catholic could not be considered for a white supremacist group, even if they were die-hard white supremacists.
Who do you hate, Danny?
I hate anyone that isn't white Protestant.
Why?
They're a burden to the advancement of the white race. Some of them are alright, I guess.
None of them are fucking alright, Danny, okay? They're all a bunch of fucking freeloaders. Remember what Cam said? We don't know them, we don't want to know them. They're the fucking enemy.
Times have changed, as did these norms. So is it too far-fetched to think that white supremacy as we know it will look drastically different in a few generations? If you take a look at the current patterns of individual behavior, specifically mating patterns amongst people, you will notice an uptick in acceptability of interracial marriages and mixed-race children, where in times before these were strict off-limit taboos. Also, the most ethnically diverse societies in the world are in North America and Europe, predominantly white regions. And unlike in times before, the majority white population faces little or no taboo concerning marrying or procreating with a member from outside of their own racial group. This change has drastic consequences on the population, as down the line you will more frequently see individuals who carry European lineage and European surnames and the family history that comes with these names. However, they phenotypically will not resemble their European ancestors. When an entire population has a population base in which large percentages of the population have European and Asian, or European and Middle Eastern, or European and African heritages amalgamated into one person, in which they phenotypically take features from both ethnicities and carry the lineages of both as well, will create a society of people with a completely unique perspective concerning the racial outlook and racial self-awareness. In the coming generations, you will see millions of growing children who display predominantly Asian or dark features, but who have European last names and behave themselves in a manner that is more quote-unquote white, thanks to the influence of their name and white parent. Now, this may create identity confusion, but more importantly, will create entire generations who approach the issue of race, ethnicity, and heritage in a different manner than currently exists amongst a more racially segregated and defined society of people. I do not see it to be altogether outside the realm of possibility in generations from now to have many young people with distinctly non-European phenotypes who identify strongly with their European last name and European heritage, who will then turn around and take a twisted attachment to it, in which this attachment manifests itself in the form of white supremacy or neo-Nazism. In fact, this indeed does happen in the modern day, where you have individuals with white supremacist or heavy white nationalist leanings who do not fit the mold of white by the traditional definition of white as put forth by white supremacists of yesteryear. A large number of individuals in the current day who have Hispanic last names, whose lineage is primarily from Central and South America, and have a large percentage of their ethnicity comprised of Mestizo or Amerindian, are noted white supremacists and white nationalists, and justify their beliefs on the basis that their skin is aesthetically pale and that they have some European ancestry in them. They are not fully white, yet they have these supremacist proclivities. I believe that these people are a glimpse into the future of the evolution of white supremacy. Add into the equation the current narrative surrounding race and ethnicity that is being put forth in pop culture and academia.
There's no such thing as reverse sexism, Mr. White Man.
It asserts that European civilizations and people of European descent were the only ones throughout history who were rapacious, violent, militaristic, and ruthlessly aggressive. With a tiny bit of research, this notion can be proven unequivocally false. However, the narrative has gone fairly unchallenged. So much so that many opinions are being silenced before they can be given, simply due to the complexion and heritage of the person attempting to speak. In science, for every action there is an equal and opposite reaction. And this is true for culture as well. The current strategy of engagement, which puts forth that those who have ancestry from a cultural identity devoid of a power base have a greater say in matters, while those who have lineage from a culture with a power base cannot contribute to the same discussion, is extremely myopic and will backfire considerably in the form of mixed race white supremacy. And as stated before, if you think that white supremacy cannot evolve to include individuals who contain a minimum of half non-white European lineage, then you would have to conveniently ignore the white supremacy that has flourished in all reaches of Europe, the Mediterranean, the Middle East, and South America, despite the supposedly hardline white Protestant foundation of white supremacy. Besides, there have been thousands of people in Great Britain and all over Europe who have waved the Nazi flag and espoused neo-Nazi views, who are literally the descendants of ancestors who fought against real Nazis and in many cases died while doing so. Yet these people proudly waved the banner of Nazism despite this. So if those people can take up the cause, then anyone can. Plus, if you think about it, Japanese people have a more rightful claim to be neo-Nazis than do people from the British Isles, France, Belgium, Greece, Holland, Norway, Poland, Denmark, and Russia. But that's just if we base this on history. Not like that's important at all anymore.